right, so we're doing something a little different today. Today I have CEO of BDIC, Jeffrey Glusman. We are announcing our partnership with BDIC, and I'll let Jeffrey explain what BDIC is. It has to deal with cryptocurrency and insurance, but we'll get into it. So, Jeffrey, give a little bit about your background and how you got to BDIC.
Well, I'm a TradFi guy. I was a Merrill Lynch guy for quite some time and transitioned into some finance and some liability management. I had a gentleman come to me with an idea on cryptocurrency insurance, specifically for hot wallets and exchanges. And at the time, I really wasn't very into crypto. I was scared of it, right? It wasn't as popular as it is today, to say the least. And I also got taken for about $100,000 out of one of my wallets. Got scammed, got phished, right? And that's something that's difficult for a lot of people to admit, especially people that consider themselves smart. So for me, it was an easy decision to say, okay, I need to do this not only for my own protection, but for everybody else, because 300 million, 400 million, 500 million, that's the last 3 years of how much money's been taken out of people's wallets.
That's insane.
How many people have been scammed. The numbers are not going the right way, right? So to give that peace of mind for people to be able to use crypto in their daily life, to invest in crypto and have some protection, not just Bitcoin, Ethereum, but quality coins, not meme coins, is going to provide the normalization. And for me as a TradFi guy, they did the same thing for the banks with FDIC insurance in the 30s. They did it for the investment markets in the 70s with SIPC coverage, SIPC. And insurance is missing right now from this space. So it's a blue ocean strategy, going to fill the gap, and hopefully with some help from you guys to get the brand in the market.
Absolutely. We're going to get it out there. Crypto is very foreign to a lot of people. So can you give a basic explanation of what crypto is and where is crypto going?
Well, gosh, where it's going right now is not even the question. PNC Bank just announced a relationship with Coinbase, where now they're letting their banking clients access these digital currencies. And we've all grown up, most of us anyway, have only been alive long enough to know the dollar. But believe it or not, before the dollar, people were exchanging, goats for chickens, shiny metal, right, called gold or silver for a cow. And here we are in a world now where people are taking their fiat, their hard dollars, their greenbacks, and they're putting them into digital currencies because they get to control their money again. And that's the real key about crypto. The reason that Bitcoin was created initially was for custody. So people could take back the control of their money. You deposit your money at the bank and they pay you a nominal interest rate. Most people don't know that the bank is then lending your money out at 9 times whatever you have on deposit, and they're charging 7-8% over what they're giving you in interest. That's a little bit of a game, if you will, that's been played. And I think people waking up on the opportunity and option to say, hey, now it's my money again and I can control it and have it in a secure bank account called a wallet, is what's happening.
So a lot of people have fear because they don't understand what Bitcoin is, right? Because it's not tangible, right? Cash is cash. You have it in your hand, which if you really want to have the argument, do you really have it in your hand, right? Because once you put it in the bank, that's it.
Right. That's right.
It's out in I like to call it the iCloud.
Right. You don't have custody. The bank has your money.
Yep.
If you've got $100,000 in the bank or even $249,000 and you think, well, I've got FDIC insurance, I challenge anybody, go into the bank and ask them for your cash today.
Right. They won't be able to come up with it.
They're going to say, we've got $37,000 in the drawer and that's it on any day. And if you want that money, we need 3 days heads up. Well, God forbid you had a scenario where you don't know what to do and you need money and you've got to wait to get your capital.
Right.
That's really the driving force. Again, custody is the key. And our insurance, there are insurance providers in general, but they say to you is, oh, we'll insure your crypto wallet, but we need your keys, which is like the combination to your safe, and we need you to let us then pledge your money on our platform, which takes away custody.
Right.
So that's counterintuitive to the purpose, and which we don't do.
So what's your feeling on there's a lot of chatter on the dollar being digital, it's going to go digital. And it's going to be pretty soon from everything that I've read. What are your thoughts on it?
I think that the recent news and what you've seen from different groups buying significant amount of BTC, right? Considerable amount for not just sovereign funds, corporations, balance sheets. And everyone's talking about what's reported, which is the public company reporting. What you don't know about are all the private companies that are holding it too.
The PEs.
And it's become, BTC is not so much so the digital currency that's going to get used on a day by day. It's going to not replace, but it's going to be like gold. It's capital or an asset versus money. Now you can still trim off of BTC, right, to do things, but I think it's something like 0.02% of the people actually own Bitcoin, right? And there's not a lot of people with one Bitcoin in their pocket. There's people with a lot of fractional Bitcoin,
Right.
right? But the dollar, the transformation, it practically exists now. USDT, you look at what Tether's done and how
Right.
many people are relying on that as an equivalent pegged to the dollar. I think, especially what the U.S. has done in regulation in the last 6 months, we thought was going to take about 2 years to get here, and it's taken them 6 months, which means in the next 6 months, they're going to be practically in year 4 of expectation, which means adoption will be pushed into the retail client from the banks, and it won't even be a thing that people think about anymore. It will be, oh yes, I use my PNC wallet through Coinbase, and I own crypto like they own ETFs,
Right.
which nobody wanted to invest in initially also.
Right.
Right?
So BDIC, they're the first insurance crypto insurer to come to market. Is that correct?
We're the first crypto insurer covering hot wallets, not taking custody. So right now, if you own Bitcoin, there's certain providers out there, insurers, that will say, oh, if you have between 25,000 and 100,000 of Bitcoin, we'll insure your wallet. But again, you have to give us the combination to your safe, the keys, the key phrases, take away custody. We're the first ones saying, hey, we're going to algorithmically underwrite you just like you would for your car insurance. Assuming you're qualifying, you get to keep all of your keys, keep your custody, and you get coverage. You pay the premium every month. If you get phished or hacked, you file, we go through claims adjustment. Usually within 3 days, you get payoff.
Right. So I know you guys are pursuing a partnership with Lloyd's of London to be your cover hold.
Sure.
What would that mean for BDIC, getting them to back you guys?
Well, it's going to happen, matter of fact. We have 3 separate managing general agents, which is basically a broker, right? And there's over 4,000 people that are of cover holder status where they can write Lloyd's and use Lloyd's for reinsurance. So we'll have that in the fourth quarter. That's a brand lift, obviously. It's a reputational lift. And I think it's going to provide that extra comfort for people that say, well, is this insurance real? And do I trust it? Most people, if you say, well, Lloyd's is the one that's helping us on the insurance side, they go, oh, Lloyd's versus what's BDIC. So
Right.
it eliminates, I think, the questions, if you
Right.
will, versus stability.
So how are you backing? So you have the insurance, but what's backing the insurance?
Well, we have 2 components backing, and we have balance sheet strength and we have a token reserve. So a third of our token issuance, our utility token, which will be used for payments, for claims, for settlement, for governance, for staking. We're putting a third of those in the pot over here for claim settlement. That's 500 million plus tokens. That's going to be worth between $3 and $5 billion based on our valuation, which today is $5 billion. And people say, well, how is your valuation pre-revenue $5 billion? Well, I have an investor who's put $1 billion on the balance sheet for 20%. It's math, right? So our valuation is $5 billion. And that will only grow as we sign wallet providers, exchanges, which we have contracts literally sitting right now that are just waiting for the pen to hit the paper. The validity of the value will go up.
Can you explain to the average viewer that doesn't understand crypto what a wallet is?
Well, Barack Obama said that a wallet was a portable Swiss bank account. So everybody knows, oh, Swiss bank account, it's safe and you can't track it, you can't follow it, and I can have it and nobody can touch my money. And that makes sense, right? So if you have a wallet, you have it on your phone or you have a hard wallet, it's not traceable. We could send back and forth to each other, but there's no identifier on there other than showing on blockchain that the money moved from one place to the other. So if you put your money into a wallet and you own Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, whatever it may be, it's your private little Fort Knox that nobody can touch, nobody can have access to. And candidly, in 50 years, you know, when you choke on a chicken bone, your children can inherit that wallet.
Right.
And it's not a taxable event.
Right.
Right. It's a passing of wealth, and it's a wealth builder.
Right.
So we're big advocates.
Yeah. Where do you see? Because, you know, my experience and just, you know, being around for 42 years on this green earth and being from this country, the government's going to want theirs. Where do you see regulation heading with, you know, crypto?
Oh, no, it's, you know, there's no doubt government going to want theirs, right? And looking at trying to identify taxable events and be there to collect their dollars.
Right.
So regulation, yeah, right now regulation is pushing the exchanges to offer supplemental insurance. They're looking at companies like ours as the blueprint to how they can get their retail coverage so that people are prone to invest, prone to put money to work. And if you understand how the government works and you look at BlackRock, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America,
All the big institutions, yeah.
let's not forget who owns those banks.
Right.
Okay, it's not all Warren Buffett, right? There was a big bailout, in case we all forget. And then the government owns those banks. So they're in business with each other. BlackRock and the government, for me, are one entity. So as far as the government getting theirs, they're going to get theirs because they're getting the transactions. The money flow going into ETFs at BlackRock are ridiculous. And the amount of ETFs that are about to come online by other issuers outside only suggests that now it will be traceable because people are going to be investing, although I hate to break it to everyone, when you buy an ETF and you think you own Bitcoin, you don't, right? You're in the ETF, and the ETF practically doesn't own Bitcoin at the time. But that's how they're going to get their piece. They're just going to make it mainstream, and people will adopt, and that'll be that. They still, I don't think, will be able to mess with that individual custody hard wallet where you're saying, okay, it's part of my wealth transfer. But they're going to get theirs.
Right. On a global scale, what do you see BDIC being, right? Because, you know, one thing is here domestically, but on the global stage, how do you see BDIC rolling out?
Well, we're international, so our focus on the U.S. is, although we're being approached by U.S. entities that we're going to provide coverage to, we're focused on Hong Kong and China, right? Where 5 exchanges there combined have more headcount than the population in the U.S. of itself. Latin America and Europe, and the adoption that they're heading to is going to be between 30 and 40% in the next 5 to 10 years. It's billions of people, and no disrespect to the U.S. is 350 million people. When regulation catches up, when they're asking us for help, which is happening now, then we'll pivot and handle it accordingly. But right now, we're an international company doing some business in the U.S. So, for instance, I can't take my utility coin and put a dividend on it because that makes it a security. Even though we're not a U.S. company, it still qualifies it as well.
So if you put a dividend on it, it's considered a,
That's right. It's considered a security. So we're allowing staking, which is going to provide yield. It's the same appeal. It's for me, it's basically the same thing.
Right.
But we looked at the dividend component because insurance companies typically pay dividends. And the bottom line is we're an insurance company. It's that simple.
Right. Backed by a token.
Yeah. Backed by a token and the balance sheet.
And the balance sheet.
If we have $1 billion on the balance sheet over here and we have $5 billion worth of tokens for settlements, and someone asked me this question, well, what if there's a black swan event? What if this? I said, well, look, we're not like most people that you think of in your brain. Just because we have $5 billion available to write insurance, it doesn't mean we're going to write $4,999,000,000. We're going to write maybe half of that. We're going to give ourselves some breathing room. We're going to allow the market to go. We know we're going to get scammed. We know people are going to try to abuse and say, oh, this wallet provider is now insured. Let's go blast that wallet provider and let's make this. No, we're smarter than that. You know, the back door is not just closed, but we have eyeballs on. We're dealing with major players in the space like Fireblocks, Station 70, and others that provide not only the infrastructure we need, but the human capital that's been in this space for a decade. I've only been running this now for 2 years. I'm still on the learning scope, but we're dealing with people that are teaching, right, not learning. So we feel comfortable about it.
Yeah, you've made some impactful hires on your C-suite. Can you talk about those and who you've brought into BDIC?
Sure. As much as I like to look in the mirror and say, you know, I'm a handsome guy, not so much. face for radio. Our CIO, our CFO, our CISO, these are past, you know, Fed chairmen, people that have run foreign companies with 150 other entities reporting up into them, an original Microsoft top 50 guys, a senior technical advisor. The human capital on the team, we also just hired a gentleman who's handled the RWA business, real world assets. We're not just insuring, but we have people coming to us saying, hey, we want to do a tokenized project, we want to tokenize this event, and we want to insure the token afterwards. So we've got specialists in all those areas, and that's what really comes down to when Lloyd's looks at a business partner like us. They're not just looking for solvency money. They're not just looking for a business plan. They're looking at human capital. And the last piece that we'll plug in will be our chief insurance officer, who's third-generation insurance company, knows insurance like the back of his hand, and that eliminates the question of do we know what we're doing in this space. So we're excited about that.
Right. And where's headquarters located?
Well, it's on a remote island that can't be said out loud. Our initial plans were to headquarter the insurance operation out of Bermuda.
Okay.
And in the process of doing that, we had conversations. We were approached by several sovereign wealth funds that said, you're not going to headquarter in Bermuda. And I said, that's where we are. It's the insurance capital of the world. And they said, well, you're going to headquarter here because we're going to make you what we call the Godfather offer, which is one you can't refuse.
Right.
And that's where that $1 billion component of the balance sheet comes from. I spent a week out of the country last week and came home with the commitment, which is not even a question at this point. Now it's just a matter of the pig getting through the python.
Right.
And maybe it's 30, maybe it's 45 days, but we're walking down the hill here. We're not trying to fall on our face. And strategically, by taking our time, and what's happened in the crypto space, especially the last 6 months, certainly the last 30 days, it was the best thing we ever did, not making a deal a year and a half ago.
Right. So what's created the jump in the crypto market the last 30 days? In your
Well,
opinion?
from a traditional finance perspective, I look at the technical component. There's always hype and excitement. Then irrational exuberance. Then there's usually a cooling off period. And a lot of times those cooling off periods or corrections scare retail people out that haven't been on the face of this earth for 40 or 50 years.
Right.
But if you have, and you were around for the 2000, then the 2008, and then the COVID markets, you know that when markets correct 22 to 38%, you should be backing up the truck.
Right.
And so right now, technically, and I call it Q4ic, all of the altcoins, without BTC and ETH, all of the altcoins technically are set up to go higher, because what comes with fear is greed, right? It's the angel and the devil. And right now, the greed devil is out, and the interest is there, and pushing to highs. And I think you'll still see Bitcoin rise maybe to 130, 140 before it comes back to 106, before it goes to 300, before it comes back to 180. There will be sell-offs. There will be things that happen that scare people again. But smart money has strong hands, which in the space they call diamond hands, means I don't let go.
Right.
For nothing else, I add.
Right.
And you would do the same thing back in the day. If General Electric had a big sell-off, you would say, I'm going to buy more GE. They're not going out of business. But too big to fail doesn't exist anymore.
Got it.
Right.
Got it. So when do you anticipate BDIC going public?
Well, we're going to do a token offering likely in November. We may move it a little earlier, we may move it a little later, but we're going to be a private company. There's no exit strategy here. We're going to revenue cash flow. We're going to have a token offering, which people can participate in. We'll have the website up for that soon with a whitelist where people can go in with their wallets, have access. You don't have to be accredited to invest in something like this, but it's a true utility token. This isn't like the Melania Trump and Donald Trump tokens that people have no idea why they're investing in it. They should be able to look at it and, matter of fact, pragmatically say, hey, insurance company that has clients that are paying them every month to give them insurance coverage. And understand that we're smart enough to mitigate risk. We're only covering wallets in 0 to 10 grand and 10 to 20 grand. It's like only covering Kias, right? Versus the Bugattis. And well, why aren't you covering bigger wallets? Well, you cover bigger wallets, you're taking more risk.
Right.
So we're mitigating that, and we're going to grow slowly. But our partners, the wallet providers that are signing with us in the exchanges, it's tens of hundreds of millions of headcount.
You know, a lot of average people that are not, they hear the stories with FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried and that situation that happened there. How do you put measures in place so the rug doesn't get pulled out from under this company and people don't get duped? That's a big
if you're
question.
talking about the token offering, we've, and you can see I scrunch my face up right there because it's something I take seriously.
Right.
Making sure,
I think it's important to talk about, right?
No, it's huge. I scrunch up because it's like, I'm with you because I've seen it happen.
Right.
And I'm like, either people are extremely greedy, ignorant, or people thought they were smart and didn't look deeper.
Right.
So transparency is step one. Our light paper explains clearly on the allocation. I'm a founder. I have no liquidity for at least 6 months. And when I do, it's de minimis. Our C-suite has 3% liquidity at the ICO, at the initial coin offering. And when that token generation event happens, the C-suite probably will sell 1 token a piece to make a statement, as if, like we're going to sell now when we know where we're going. And the other thing is investor vesting schedules have control measures. The more money you put in, the less you get to sell at the open. And you may be an investor, I'll let you introduce 3 people, not more than that. So we're not going to let people collude, create mini syndicates, and try to blow us up. And we're also engaging market makers to make sure that we have stock and that we have cash. That's a big problem. When you see something go parabolic and it goes up, usually the reason it crashes is because there's no money here to buy it on the way down to provide that support.
Sure.
So we're taking active measures to make sure that doesn't happen.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people have a lot of questions because I've been asked, I've talked to other people about BDIC, full disclosure, I invested in your company.
Sure.
I believe in you. I fully, to this day, don't understand crypto completely. I think I've come around
I'm not
more.
sure I do either.
Yeah, I'm starting to come around more and more and educating myself because I have put money behind you guys and I believe in you. Personally, we've gotten to meet each other multiple times and I believe what your vision is and I believe, everything that you've brought has been on the up and up. And
Thank you.
yeah, so I look
That means a
forward to
lot.
seeing the success of BDIC and seeing this grow. And where can people find BDIC, and if they have interest in coming in as an investor?
The first thing I tell people to do is, ask whatever AI it is that you use, what is BDIC insurance, or what is BDIC crypto insurance? And you're going to see the response. It's going to tell you, hey, they're the first to market doing this. They may say, well, there's one or two other companies we found, but when you dig down, you see they're not like us. They're still taking custody. They still have to have a certain size wallet to do the business, and that's not what we're doing. So BDICinsurance.com is our base website, but I offer up, use the Google machine. Go look at the news we've had out for the past 3 months, and that's what people do. Search, do your digging, and then if need be, look at LinkedIn. Look at the posts that I've personally put up or the company's put up for the past 6 months, and you'll see the message is consistent. And you'll see that the message hasn't changed, but it's been more so of, are you listening? Because now the message is there. What we've been telling you was going to happened a lot quicker. So yeah, BDICinsurance.com provides really all the documentation someone would need.
So what do you, in closing now, what do you see the next year, 3 years, 5 years for BDIC? Where do you see the company heading towards?
Gosh, I just think the growth is unlimited for us. Again, focusing in Hong Kong and China, focusing in Latin America, focusing in Europe. The adoption levels there are insane right now. And if you look at the Hong Kong market, 3 exchanges, like I said before, each have 50 million users per exchange. If we capture 20% of that, excuse me, if we capture 20% of that on each exchange, that's over 10 million heads, paying us $20 a month. So what's for us? It's like I said, it's taking the revenue we create and putting it back into the company, putting it into our foundation, teaching these third world countries how to farm correctly, helping them lift up their people, the women and children that have been kept in check for hundreds of years, right, in this country, and allowing minorities to rise up, right, and giving power to people. And that's really, in my opinion, ultimately what crypto is about and what BDIC is about. It's getting people to understand they can get into this and feel comfortable, even at a small level while you're learning, right? And then once you learn, say, okay, now I want to expand my horizons.
Right.
And I think that's the same like someone buying a stock, even buying a car the first time.
Right.
Walk into the dealership. That's no fun.
Right.
Right. So, but we'll continue to grow. I think we're going to have a couple of other sovereign wealth funds that'll probably join us on the balance sheet. And this country, like I said, it'll get where it's going sooner than later.
Sure. Awesome. So the link will be in our Instagram. The link will also be in our website. We're going to be adding the BDIC link. You guys can check it out for yourselves. And, like you said, use the Google machine, educate yourselves, and you guys can direct message us. And if you have any interest in BDIC, please do not hesitate to reach out, and we will connect you.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. BMG, the team here really appreciate all the time you guys have put in, and certainly the opportunity to present.
Absolutely,
BDIC.
man. So we look forward to this partnership and bringing you in more often, and just having different conversations of what's going on in the market, and really educating people on crypto, because a lot of people are hesitant because they don't understand it.
Well, just to close, that education component, that's the biggest focus, not just our company, but people that really do care. Education first, right? Education.
Agreed.
So we really appreciate the time and the opportunity.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for coming by.
Absolutely. Thanks
Appreciate
for
you,
having
man.
me, man. Good seeing you.